All right, folks, Ahsoka Episode 5 is finally out, and there's a galaxy-sized scoop to dive into. So here's the lowdown. Sabine's gone all warp speed with Morgan Elsbeth and Baylan Skoll. And our trusty duo, General Hera Syndulla and Captain Carson Teva, are on the hunt for clues to find her. Now, on to Ahsoka. She's in a pickle of a different kind. After a close call with the Grim Reaper, she lands herself in the enigmatic world between worlds. Picture this as a sort of force-fueled limbo. She's doing this time-traveling thing, flashing back and even getting some training from her old Jedi Master Anakin Skywalker, played by none other than Hayden Christensen, making a triumphant return. But wait, there's more. The episode is loaded with Easter eggs and nods to Star Wars lore, especially from the prequels and animated series. It's like a treasure hunt for die-hard fans. So, if you're up for some intergalactic sleuthing, we've got you covered on what you might have missed in this epic episode. The different looks of Anakin, all right. So in this Ahsoka episode, Anakin's fashion game is on point, and it's not just by chance. They intentionally give us different Anakin looks that totally send us down Star Wars memory lane. First up, when Ahsoka bumps into Anakin in the world between worlds, he's like how we remember him in his Jedi prime. Blue-eyed, long hair, and rocking that pre-Vader outfit from Revenge of the Sith. But hold on, it's not all Jedi robes and blue skies. They throw in these dramatic flashes of Anakin in full Darth Vader gear, complete with the red lightsaber and the epic Darth Vader breathing sounds. And it's not just a one-time thing. As the scenes go further back in time, Anakin's hair gets a trim, matching his look from the Clone Wars. They even nail his animated series outfits. But here's where it gets emotional. As we inch closer to the dark side, Anakin's eyes go all Sith red, and he starts channeling that intense vibe he had right before his epic showdown on Mustafar. They even recreate that memorable walk into the Jedi Temple from Revenge of the Sith. So, bottom line, they're taking us on a visual journey through Anakin's Star Wars history, and it's a roller coaster of nostalgia and feels. Can you believe how much detail they packed into this episode? It's like a love letter to the fans. Ariana Greenblatt is unrecognizable in this. You know who totally knocked it out of the park in Ahsoka Episode 5? Ariana Greenblatt, that's who. She brought young Ahsoka to life in all those Clone Wars flashbacks, and boy, did she shine. She's like a pro, holding her own alongside Hayden Christensen, who's delivering his A-game Star Wars performance. But here's the cool part. This isn't Ariana's first rodeo. She's been sharing the screen with some big names. You might have caught her in this summer's Barbie movie where she rubbed shoulders with countless stars. And get this, she hung out with Adam Driver in that dino-packed sci-fi flick 65. But wait, there's more. She's played a young version of major characters before, like in Lin-Manuel Miranda's In the Heights, where she was a young Nina. And most impressively, she was the young Gamora in Avengers Infinity War. So, Ariana Greenblatt is basically a rising star, and we can't wait to see where her fantastic career takes her next. She's the real deal, folks. The Siege of Mandalore. You've probably noticed that the Star Wars shows are getting us closer to the full Mandalorian history, right? Well, Ahsoka's latest episode is no exception. They give us a sneak peek at the Siege of Mandalore, where a young Ahsoka is in charge of the clone troopers. And get this battle happened after she and Anakin had gone their separate ways. Now here's where it gets intriguing. If we put on our detective hats and piece together Sabine's backstory and the hints dropped in the series, it's like they're teasing a connection between Sabine and Ahsoka before the whole Rebels era kicks in. So buckle up, because we might be in for some Mandalorian history lessons that tie it all together. The Star Wars puzzle keeps on getting more exciting. The Mandalorian super commandos of Darth Maul. Okay, so here's the deal if you're mainly a Star Wars film buff and haven't dug into the animated shows or books. You probably thought Darth Maul bit the dust in The Phantom Menace, right? Well, surprise! He popped up again in Solo, a Star Wars story in 2018. Animated Star Wars fans have known all along that Maul survived that lightsaber poke from Obi-Wan Kenobi, and has been up to more mischief. Now fast forward to The Mandalorian and Ahsoka. They've been slowly filling in the blanks about Mandalore's history and all that jazz. And in this Ahsoka episode, they drop a new nugget for live-action Star Wars fans. It's about what happened when Darth Maul offed Pre Vizsla. The Death Watch, Mandalorian troublemakers, kind of fell apart. Some followed Bo-Katan Kryze, staying loyal to Mandalore, while others joined the Maul fan club. These Maul supporters jazzed up their armor with red vibes and those cool horns on their helmets. They go by the name Mandalorian Super Commandos, and they were a big deal in the Clone Wars animated series. So it's like Star Wars is handing live-action versions a bunch of fresh Mandalorian lore to chew on. The galaxy far, far away just keeps on giving, my friends. Captain Rex and clone troopers. You know, in the live-action Star Wars movies, we didn't really get to see the deep bonds between Jedi and clone troopers. It was mostly off-screen or in the animated shows. But episodes like this in Ahsoka bring back those warm and fuzzy feelings of how tight these comrades were. Plus, it's a total nostalgia trip for prequel fans with all that cool armor, weapons, and vehicles. Now let's talk about Captain Rex, or should I say, Connecticut. 7567. He's been a front and center clone soldier in the Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels. And guess what? In one of the flashbacks in this episode, he pops in after Ahsoka takes down some of those Mandalorian super commandos. He gives her a thumbs up before charging back into battle. Oh, and bonus, he's voiced by Temuera Morrison, who's been all over Star Wars, from the prequels to The Mandalorian, and now his own series, The Book of Boba Fett. It's like a clone trooper reunion, and we're here for it. Ahsoka uses the Force and her white robes. Ahsoka's Force game is seriously impressive, way beyond the standard Jedi moves like pushing, jumping, and pulling stuff. She's got this cool trick up her sleeve called psychometry, which is like Force detective work. She can touch objects or places and hear echoes of what went down there. It's like a Jedi CSI, right? But wait, there's more. In this episode, she has this heart-to-heart with those massive Purrgil creatures, basically convincing them to give her and Huyang a ride into hyperspace. It's like she's the ultimate animal whisperer, but in space. Now here's the kicker. When Ahsoka makes her grand return from the world between worlds, she's sporting a snazzy new outfit, mostly white. It's like a Gandalf-style rebirth, and it totally mirrors what we saw in the post-credits scene of Star Wars Rebels. It's like she's fully leveled up in the light side of the Force, and it's a powerful transformation worth cheering for. Senator Organa. You know, keeping tabs on the Star Wars timeline can be a real head-scratcher, especially with all the new stuff popping up every year. But sometimes, all it takes is one little line to bring you back on track. Take Grogu, for example. That little guy has seen more action than most, surviving Order 66 and still being a cute baby during The Mandalorian. But hey, our human characters are playing by our aging rules. Now here's the cool part. When Hera Syndulla and Carson Teva are dealing with Senate messages and the fallout from their unauthorized adventure, Carson drops this line. Senator Organa says she can only give us cover for so long. Yep, that's right. He's talking about Leia Organa herself. She's had her fair share of titles, Princess, General. But at this point, between the Galactic Empire's fall and the First Order's rise, Leia's a senator in the New Republic, and she's helping our rebels behind the scenes. Now, with the loss of the legendary Carrie Fisher, we won't be seeing Leia on screen again. Disney has pretty much maxed out the use of old footage and de-aging tech for the character. But these little nods are a sweet reminder of Leia's lasting impact, even when she's not in the spotlight. That brings us to the end of today's video. What was your favorite Easter egg from this episode? Let us know in the comments below. And if you haven't already, then please like and subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.